Download the free Gun Dealio app to your smartphone. Find out about the latest deals and news on guns and gear. Includes the latest Gun Talk podcast and Gun Talk videos. That's Gun Dealio on the App Store and Google Play.
This is Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, now available on iTunes and other podcast clients, and on the free Gun Dealio smartphone app for iPhone and Android. Feel free to call Tom now at 1-TOM-TALK-GUN or 866-825-5486, or email Tom at guntalk.com. Now, once again, here's Tom.
All right, back with you, Tom Gresham. 866-TALK-GUN. Get you in. 866-TALK-GUN. And a few minutes here, I'm going to be filling you in on this story out of New York State, where the state is urging banks and insurers to stop doing business with the gun industry. And what's interesting is a major ammunition company announcing that it will not sell ammunition to the police or other agencies, law enforcement agencies, in the state of New York because of this. We'll have that information for you. That's pretty interesting stuff. Things are heating up everywhere. And it's a culture war as much as anything. It's always a pleasure to welcome onto the show somebody who you just have enormous respect for. And that certainly goes for our next guest. He's the author of a brand new book titled Conquer Anything, A Green Beret's Guide to Building Your A-Team. Please welcome, if you will, Sergeant First Class Greg Stube. Greg, thank you so much. Good to hear from you again, partner.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
I am well. I mean, it's been a while since you joined us here. I do want to just remind people, you were a Green Beret. You were in the Battle of Operation Medusa in Afghanistan. And when I asked you what happened, your response was really pretty simple. I got blown up.
Well, I had a hard day at the office.
Yeah, you did, didn't you? It was, yes, not everybody got out of that little deal.
Well, it's par for the course in the fight for freedom, and it started long before my generation. So it's nothing to hang our heads about. It's necessary to keep this thing going for future generations.
Let me ask you, how long was your physical recovery after all of that?
I guess there's some ways I'm still recovering because things are different. When your body gets altered and changed and you lose certain parts, it changes things forever. And so I think the biggest part of healing is maybe your perspective on life and yourself.
Well, that kind of goes to some of what your new book, Conquer Anything, is about. It's how you approach things. It's what's inside your head, and you basically tapping into your training and your experience as a Green Beret building A-teams comes to this. What's the book about, and why did you decide to do this?
Well, it's called Conquer Anything, A Green Beret's Guide to Building Your A-Team, because I wanted to demystify some of the things that people see. When they look at Special Operations Forces, they see an A-team or a SEAL team in the movie, and it's so amazing when you see those dynamics in action in hostile situations, dangerous, mortal encounters, and those guys don't even have to talk to each other sometimes. It can be mystifying, and you think it's just a great military thing that happens. But my suggestion overall throughout the book is that they're not as much military characteristics and traits as they are human ones that all of us can tap into. The reasons, most of the reasons they're so refined on special operations teams is because of the pressure. It's because of the life and death situations that increase the importance of even the smallest details. But if we take that pressure off of it, if we take the life and death risk out of it, there's a lot of important things for us to extract and use in our daily lives. And when I say build your A-team, I mean your home and family, your work, your sports team on the weekend. You know, a lot of people don't think about it that way, but your A-team at home has got a dog on it and kids. Some of them are still in a crib. but that's your A team. And there are things we can do and use every day from the battlefield experience to make our lives better and richer, and unfortunately angle ourselves better toward a future that includes a lot more risk and potential perils that we're seeing.
Give me an idea of just like a tip or a tactic or a skill that you know that you've learned through all of your training, that the kind of thing that we could tap into and use in our lives.
Oh, I think immediately two things come to mind, Tom. One of them is candor. Using candor allows us to tell the truth, and that helps us build better intimacy with each other. It helps us be more honest about particularly shortcomings. And shortcomings cause failures, and if we don't address them on the front end, we wind up with a larger failure that the whole team is holding. When, as a leader or a team member, more candor and honesty would lead us to a better solution, and we'd start fixing the lower end of our capabilities instead of focusing on what we're so good at. And I think in guns and shooting, it's the same thing. We like to do what we're already good at, and we tend to avoid those things that we're not good at. And a lot of times we avoid it because there's other people watching.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to do malfunction drills because they're hard and they're clumsy and we're not particularly good at them, but that's the stuff you got to work on.
Right, and I had some great leadership. I didn't write this book because I'm good at anything, because I'm not. But I witnessed greatness in the Special Forces and some of my leaders and teammates. And one of the things I had to get over, I became a Green Beret, and I thought that was it. I had arrived. Wrong. That was only the beginning of my training, and I found out pretty quick when we were in hostile environments, we would hunker down inside, a safe house or someplace we couldn't be observed, and my team sergeant would make us do dry fire drills, drawing our weapon in the configuration that we happen to be carrying on those current patrols. Concealed weapons, sometimes civilian clothes or a different configuration than a battle soldier would normally have his sidearm in. And we had to practice thousands of times with no ammo, not firing, just drawing. And I was insulted by that as a guy in my mid-20s. I thought I was better than that. But pretty soon I could see that it made me more capable. And if I just confessed that I need to work on my basics, I'd have been better from the start. Wow.
That's I can't tell you how, I've always been impressed knowing you and proud to say that I know you, but that kind of thing, and what it tells me, Greg, and it's what I've come to realize, and I've gotten to know a number of Special Forces folks, is you guys do not fit the stereotype that some people have of, they're big and they're strong and they're fast and they can shoot, but they're not real smart. You have to be smart to do what you do. And to be able to say, the first thing that comes into your mind is candor, basically admitting that you have some deficiencies, either to your team or to yourself or to both, so that they can be worked on. Man, that speaks volumes to me.
Well, we need a stronger team, and it's not just shooting. If you've ever played golf and you grab up on the club and you swing too hard for the fences every time, you're not going to do well because you're not working on the low end of your game. And it's the fundamentals. I can remember when I was a kid, my dad wouldn't let me use a real gun until I got older than other kids were using firearms. So I had to hunt with a pellet rifle. And I rehearsed over and over. My brother and I would roll plates across the yard and try to hit them with the pellet gun, and we got pretty good at it. But I would rehearse in my mind what it would be like to shoot a rabbit. I had to shoot a rabbit. My buddy Bobby was rabbit hunting every weekend, and I wasn't getting any because I didn't have a shotgun and dogs. But I wanted to come to school Monday morning and say that I got a rabbit. So I rehearsed this over and over in my mind because I just knew there was this one place where a rabbit would run a certain way, and I envisioned it. The rabbit would run. I would take up a dynamic sight picture with a great lead. I'd squeeze the trigger, and the rabbit would tumble. Well, when I walked into the woods, I'm telling you, it worked out exactly the way I envisioned it. The rabbit ran even in the direction I wanted him to. And I took up the dynamic sight picture with a great lead, and I pulled the trigger, and nothing happened. Nowhere in my rehearsals had I even considered taking the gun off safe.
Yeah, that's where you practice makes perfect, but only if it's perfect practice, right?
Right. I was a ninja at making the shot, but not at handling a firearm.
I love it. I love it. It's a great story. All right. The title of the book is Conquer Anything, A Green Beret's Guide to Building Your A-Team by Sergeant First Class Greg Stube with Frank Miniter, a very good writer in his own right. I love Frank's writing as well. Greg, congratulations and best of luck. I mean, I think it's the kind of book that I don't care who you are, what you do, you've got a team, whether, as you say, it's your family, it's work, it's a ball club, whatever it is. This is really more of a guide to making everything you do and everybody around you better, it looks like.
I hope so.
All right, Greg Stube, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Good luck with the book. Conquer Anything is the name of it. All right, we're open lines now. 866-TALK-GUN. Question on your mind. A range report you'd like to share, or maybe even just your impression of a very impressive Special Forces guy. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
Hi, this is Tom Gresham from Gun Talk. America is losing critical wildlife habitat at a rate of 1 football field every hour. It's happening on the Louisiana coast, but it's critical to all sportsmen and conservationists. These precious wetlands provide winter habitat for more than 10 million ducks and geese annually, waterfowl that migrate north through dozens of states. Don't shrug it off. Get involved. You can help. Visit vanishingparadise.org.
When the U.S. military's elite units and law enforcement agencies across the globe demanded innovation and reliability, they didn't settle. They chose Sig Sauer. When world champion professional shooters demanded precision accuracy, they didn't settle. They chose Sig Sauer. So it's no surprise more and more civilian gun owners are refusing to settle for anything less. They're choosing Sig Sauer firearms, ammunition, electro-optics, suppressors, air guns, and training. Sig Sauer. Never settle.
You got your carry permit, and that's good. But you know you could use more training. Get the DVDs, which have what you need. Springfield Armory presents Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2 with Bata Group. Learn specific concealed carry skills from Top Gun fighting trainers. Get trained. Be prepared. This really is life and death. ShopGunTalk.com. That's ShopGunTalk.com.
Think all ammo's the same? Think again. Aguila Ammunition uses the highest quality materials and is one of the world's largest rimfire manufacturers. Want silent 22 ammo, powderless Super Calibri, and Sniper Subsonic? Merely whisper. For light recoil and big performance, mini shells make any shotgun a pleasure to shoot. Match grade and the Hyperfast Super Maximum and Interceptor 22 loads get the maximum for your rifle or pistol. Visit aguilaammo.com/rimfire. Feed your firearm.
Back with you. I was telling you about the story coming out of New York State. It's a little involved, but it is very worthwhile to listen to because it is the next round in the assault on gun ownership. Because that's what this is. This is an assault on firearms ownership. Because if they can drive the gun companies out of business, it gets them closer to where they want to be, which is no guns. And that's all this is. This is an attempt to drive gun companies, gun manufacturers out of business. Out of Albany, New York, Governor Cuomo's administration is urging banks and insurance companies in New York to reconsider any ties they may have to the gun industry. In letters to be sent as early as Wednesday, the state's top financial services regulator, pay attention, the top financial services regulator, that's a person who goes to banks, sends teams to banks and regulates them, as in, you're in trouble, this will cost you millions or billions. They're going to advise them of the reputational risk these institutions incur by doing business with the National Rifle Association and the gun industry. The letter from Department of Financial Services Superintendent Maria Volo does not threaten to impose any penalties on institutions that maintain ties with the gun industry, but notes the public outcry that followed the recent shooting rampage at a high school in Parkland, Florida. And then we have, Volo's letter comes after State Controller Thomas D. Napoli, in his capacity as head of the state's pension fund, hundreds of millions, maybe billions of dollars in the pension fund, sent letters to credit card companies earlier this month urging them to crack down on gun purchases. Quote, if gun violence continues unabated in society, public outcry and calls for action may grow and create significant financial risk for the company. The gun company or for the financial company? Interesting. What they're saying is it would probably be good for you guys to not make loans to, issue credit cards to, even have bank accounts from members of the firearms community. This has been done before. This was Operation Choke Point. When you as a gun company or a small company that makes holsters or stocks or optics or mounts or something, and your bank contacts you, as they have, and said, we're not going to be able to handle your business anymore. You need to transfer your money out because we're going to close your account at the end of business on Friday. Seriously, that's what they do. You no longer have a bank. All of your systems are set up. All of your payroll is set up. Everything is set up through your bank. You no longer have a bank because somebody got a burr under their saddle. Well, somebody did something about it. My old friend Steve Hornady is not one to take stuff, I was actually going to use a different S word, lightly. Hornady sends this out. We recently noted the thinly veiled threat that New York State Controller Thomas J. Napoli made when he sent a friendly letter to most of the nation's largest financial institutions. In it, he hinted, wink, wink, that it could be bad for their business if they continue to facilitate transactions that involve firearms and related products. So Steve Hornady at Hornady Firearms says, okay, oh yeah, I was low. They said that this gentleman happens to control over $200 billion in New York State pension funds. $200 billion. So Steve Hornady says, yeah, okay. You want these institutions to stop doing business with gun companies and people in the firearms industry? Okay. As of right now, Hornady is not going to sell any ammunition to law enforcement or other agencies in New York. Done. Not. Over. Toast. Adios. AMF. Sayonara. Not selling you any ammo. Find it somewhere else. And they will, and they can. But God bless you, Steve Hornady, for standing up and saying, no. This far and no more. That's it. Not going any further with this. You have set out to destroy us. And make no mistake, that's what this is. This is like the old the lawsuits against the cities. 20 years ago now? And the idea was simply, and they were open about it. They didn't hide what they wanted to do. They said back then, our goal is to destroy the firearms industry, to shut down every gun maker in the country. And we will do it We can't do it legislatively. We can't pass it because the people don't actually want it. But if we can get the mayors of a whole bunch of cities to use taxpayer dollars to file suit against them and make these companies spend millions and millions of dollars defending themselves in court, it will drive them out of business. So that's our plan. Don't care if we win, just want to drive them out of business. That's what they did back then, and that's what this move in New York is all about. Driving the firearms industry out of business, closing the doors. Simple as that. 866-TALK-GUN is our magic number here. Line 3, Lou is with us out of Elk City, Oklahoma. Hey, Lou, what's up?
Hey, how you doing? I was just going to let you know that after listening to one of your podcasts that heard Masad Ayoub and interview that you had with him, and got to looking on his website and found out that there's going to be a class about 6 hours from where I live, and invited a friend. So hopefully in September we'll get to go take his Mag 40 class. But
let me ask you, what other kind of do you have other defensive training classes that you've been to?
Yes, sir. I went through an AR rifle class in Amarillo, Texas, and got to do that. And then I've done a couple of competitions just to get a feel for it on 3-gun.
Okay.
But
you're gonna
other than that, I haven't had any pistol training.
All right, here's my prediction. I would love to get an after-action report, a range report, after you've been through Masad Ayoub's class. And I'm going to say this now, and I want you to call me later and tell me if I was right, okay? Fair enough. You're going to be a different person at the end of this class. Not just like for a different person for a week, you're going to be a different person for the rest of your life, okay? I'm just going to leave it there, let it sit there, and it's going to be a good thing. Trust me, you're going to like it. But you will be a significantly different person after you've taken this class. So that's what I'm going to ask you to do, Lou. After you've taken the class, give me a call, give me a report, and remind me what I said. And you can say, Tom, you're full of BS. It didn't work that way. Or I suspect it's going to be, yeah, you were right, and I never saw it coming. That's what typically happens. 866-TALK-GUN. Get you in here. I'm Tom Gresham. We are gathering stories, range reports, and questions. By the way, would you ever want a 10-millimeter revolver? That new one from Ruger is sweet. Tell me why.
Gun Talk encourages you to support the local sporting goods store, gun stores, ATV dealers, and other local businesses in your area who advertise on this station and Gun Talk. Only together can we protect our rights. You're listening to Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
You remember after the Parkland shooting, all around the country, they had walkouts in public schools. Students got up and walked out. Nobody stopped them. Nobody punished them. It wasn't an unexcused absence. It was an exercise in free speech. Okay? At the time, a lot of people wondered and questioned, would the schools react the same way if there was a walkout for a conservative cause or for a pro-gun rights cause? Well, we don't have to wonder anymore. We're going to find out. Our next guest is Will Riley. He has organized Stand for the Second as a nationwide walkout, student walkout to be held May the 2nd for gun rights. Hey, Will.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
You bet. So how did this come about?
Well, I saw, some students at my school participated in, the Enough walkouts. And I saw around the country, these schools condoned or even encouraged students to walk out, against our gun rights, against our Constitution. And like you, I did wonder, would we get the same treatment? And so we decided that we needed to do something. We needed to have our generation define itself, lest we be defined by the mainstream media. So we decided that we were going to do our own movement. We decided on a walkout because we want to see if they will extend that same courtesy to us, especially because in the media they're trying to portray this as a united front from our generation, and that encouraged Supreme Court Justice Stevens to come out and call for the complete repeal of the Second Amendment. Mm-hmm. I think we're living in dangerous times, and we have to speak now.
All right, so how old are you? Are you in high school now?
Yes, sir. I'm 18 years old, and I'm a high school senior. This is the last quarter of my senior year, and it's very busy.
Hope it works out well for you. So when you see people, the media, trying to portray this as essentially, well, all young people believe in restricting gun rights, what's that do to you? How do you feel about that?
Well, I would say that, trying to depict our generation as having a united front as being anti-Constitution, I would say that it's nothing less than lying by omission. They want to present this united front. They want to, create this false majority. But, the problem is they're being allowed to do that by our fellow students. And so I'm encouraging any students to get involved with this coming Wednesday, because it's incredibly important we have our voices heard. It makes me upset that, they're trying to pretend that, myself and like-minded students across the country just don't exist.
So that's this coming Wednesday. It's called Stand for the Second. So what's involved? What do, if somebody says, hey, I'm a student, I want to get involved in this, what do they do?
Well, I'd encourage any students who do want to get involved, parents of students, anyone who knows students at all, because this is so critical. Go on our website, which is standforthesecond.com. It's all spelled out. It's not like 2ND or like the numeral 4. And on there's some big red buttons that they can use to sign up so that we know how many schools are participating, and we can report that number to the media. And what we're going to do is we're encouraging people that it's going to be a 16-minute walkout, which is 1 minute less than what the Enough walkouts asked for. And we're going to do that. We're advising 10 a.m., but depending on if there's state testing, finals, something like that, you can adjust that depending on your school to make sure that nobody, is jeopardizing their chances of graduation by standing up for our Second Amendment rights.
So what are they going to do when they walk out? Where are they going to go? What's going to happen?
Well, I'm encouraging everyone, don't leave the school campus. Don't go somewhere else. Stay there. Make sure that, it's a safe environment. As safe as it can be. And during it, it's really up to the student organizers at the end of those schools what they want to do with that time. I personally am going to be giving a speech, about the Bill of Rights and the intention of the founders in writing the Second Amendment, and hopefully educate people about, their constitutional rights.
Well, obviously, we know how the media covered the first walkout. So what are you hearing? How are they covering it? What are they saying about the Stand for the Second?
Well, as far as the mainstream media, they're not saying anything. And I think unless we really show up in force, they won't. So really that's part of the goal here is that we need our voices to be too loud for them to ignore anymore. As far as, conservative outlets, pro-gun outlets, we do have a lot of support so far. But, still we haven't appeared on Fox News or anything. So we are encouraging people, if you know anybody at Fox News, or just write them a letter, send them an email. They will absolutely help get this across, because really the battle here is whether people know. Because I know people will participate, but if they don't know, they can't.
Yeah, exactly. Have you heard from any schools? I'm wondering if any schools are going to say, no, you can't do that.
We have schools from all over the country. I think last time I checked, we have about 25 schools in California, and I know a lot of the school districts over there are incredibly anti-gun, and so they have tried to crack down on this, but the majority of the ones that have also allowed for the other walkout, and so that is a constitutional issue. That is viewpoint discrimination, and so if it does need to go to court, it will, because it is completely unfair to allow one form of speech and then discriminate against another.
Yep, no, exactly. Will Riley, I wish you luck with it. I would encourage everybody to go check it out. The website it's all spelled out, standforthesecond.com, and it is happening this Wednesday. So if you're a student, get involved. If you're a parent, grandparent, share it. You can't make somebody do something, but share the information. And Will, the other thing I would say, basically, and I know you know this, encourage everybody to be polite and respectful, because you show by example who we are.
Exactly. Yeah, we want to make sure that everyone's civil. We want to promote civil discussion, and we don't want to try to silence anyone who's on the other side. We just want both sides heard.
Perfect. Will Riley, thank you so much. Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
All right, you take care. All right, 866-TALK-GUN. Open lines for you right now. Give me a call. We'll get you on Gun Talk.
Laser sights enhance shooting fundamentals, sight alignment, and trigger control. Training with laser sights increases muzzle awareness, improves and corrects sight alignment at sight picture, and aids in acquiring and maintaining sight picture in low light conditions. Call 800-442-2406 or visit crimsontrace.com for a free copy of our laser training video, The Laser's Edge, and learn why Crimson Trace is making laser sights standard equipment.
This land, once wild and free, fades now from our memory. But I remember what it was like, what we were like, what we are capable of when we band together. Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. These natural wonders are where waterfowl begin their cycle of life, where the deer and the antelope play, and where we, the people, gather together to see and share what makes the outdoors so great. The time is now to band together with organizations like Ducks Unlimited. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
For more than 70 years, Timney Triggers has been enhancing the shooter's experience. Whether it's a local competition, a day at the range, or even the hunt of a lifetime. Setting the standard in aftermarket triggers, Timney is now producing more than 170 models of triggers for bolt-action rifles, shotguns, AR rifles, and semi-automatic rifles. Proudly made in the USA since 1946. Find your new trigger at TimneyTriggers.com.
All the refinements in Smith & Wesson's M&P M2.0 pistol series shrunk to a perfect carry size in the new compact version. 4-inch barrel, light crisp M2.0 trigger, aggressively textured grip for enhanced control, 4 interchangeable palm swell inserts, 2 magazines, lifetime service policy, 15-round 9mm mag, 13-round 40 mag. The M&P M2.0 compact pistol. More at smith-wesson.com.
Jim and I have to quit talking during the break so we can do the show, because while we're talking, you're talking about, well, where should I get extra mags? Well, why do you like the 10mm? It's what we do. And, of course, it always filters and flows over right into the after show. I would encourage you, if you've not participated in the after show or listened to it, by all means do. Easiest way to do that, honestly, is with the Gun Dealio app on your smartphone. It's free. Just go grab Gun Dealio. It also will alert you. Be sure to turn on the notifications, by the way, the location services and notifications. And it will tell you when there are good deals or when you've gone by a gun store that has a cool deal. It'll alert you. It's PFM, right? It's just magic. Cool stuff out there. Line 3, James is with us, Lafayette, Louisiana. James, what's happening in Lafayette?
Hey, Tom, I really want to thank you for what you did for us Louisiana people, those thumb bills they were having in Baton Rouge that, you know, us working people, we don't have time to keep up with it. And you emailed us and let us know, and I sent out to all my friends, and we called our reps and everything, you know. So. Well, it worked. I got to thank you. It was only because everybody got involved, and it's real interesting. I was just having a conversation with somebody earlier this week, and they were saying, you know, that state thing, that works. So state groups, we made it happen in our state. I'm getting emails. You're right. The state groups are where it is, and right now that's where the action is. So, no, James, thank you. By the way, I'll be back up there, I guess, Tuesday. They're hearing another bill. This one's on knives. And, of course, I'll be there representing knife rights. And there are a couple of other bills. Hey, did you hear that there's a bill that made it to the House floor from Blake Miguez? And it would allow people with concealed carry permits to carry onto school campuses. No, yeah, I saw that. That's going to be pretty cool. Well, I don't really care about that, Tom, but it amazes me that those people in New Orleans, I don't care what color they are or anything, they're more worried about making more restrictive gun laws than arresting the people that are committing the crimes and are letting go every day. And well, it's just the same thing in all the big cities where they have the major crimes. They want to clamp down on people who are not breaking the law.
until the law-abiding, you can't have a gun here because the criminals are killing people, and going, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. All right, but you had a range report for us. So what have you been shooting?
The Ruger PC-9. I got a new one, and I put a Vector red dot on it. You know, your son Ryan did a little YouTube video on it.
Right.
Now, I've never had a pistol carbine.
Right.
And at 25 yards, it's dead on. At 50, it's pretty good. At 100, I can't even find where they're going to. But I've been shooting just cheap ammo in my Ruger, in my big old Glock 30 round mags in it.
Right.
You know, you can swap magazines. I use my big old Glock 39s.
Nice.
And the thing swings. But I've just been shooting cheap ammo. Is this my cheap ammo that makes it so bad? At 100?
The thing is, it's all about what's the expectation. I mean, it's a carbine, it's shooting pistol ammo. When you say what are you shooting at, and how big are the groups, and what's happening at 100 yards?
Yeah, well, usually at 100 yards, I'm shooting gongs or cement blocks.
Okay.
At 50 and 25, I shoot paper targets.
Yeah.
And at 25, I've been making it about 2 inches high, and at 50, it's kind of dead on. And at 100, I can't even tell where they're going.
Well, okay, here's what you got.
I've just been shooting cheap stuff, Tom, because I ain't going to go blow a 30-round magazine full of hollow points.
Yeah, the cheap ammo may not be the issue. It may be dropping enough to where you're actually shooting under it. I would advise you to shoot on paper at 100 yards. Find out where it's hitting. Of course, now, there are going to be a lot of people who are going to say, well, 25 to 50 yards is plenty and probably all you need to do with that. That's just personal choice. But I would encourage you to go shoot it on paper at 100 because you got to find out where it's hitting. If it's, if you're shooting groups the size of a cardboard box, then there could be a problem because you should be able to shoot, I don't know, I'm going to pick a number here, an arbitrary number. Should be able to shoot 6-inch groups with that, with a red dot sight. Now, here's the other question. Is it possible that the dot on your red dot is pretty large and you don't have as much aiming accuracy out at 100 yards?
It's a Vector, so I think it's a 2 MOA. I'm not really sure, Tom.
Okay, well, if it's a 2 MOA, it should cover 2 inches at 100, so it shouldn't be too much. I mean, if you're using like a 6 MOA, something like that, that could be an issue. But I would say shoot it from a rest at 100 yards on paper, just like you're sighting a hunting rifle. Let's figure out what it's doing first before we start troubleshooting, because there's too many variables going on here. You got, the rifle itself, you got the ammo, you got the optics. So let's get it on paper and see where it's hitting, and then worry about it from there. But let me back up. First question for you: are you having fun with that gun?
Oh, I love it, Tom. It's kind of it's not like cleaning a 10-22. You got to be a little bit careful with it. Mm-hmm. Because it's got springy parts that like to fly around the room. And
that sounds like experience talking.
Ruger about it. I talked to Ruger about it, and they don't have any spare parts, so don't lose anything when you clean it, or you're not going to get any spare parts here.
I'm just envisioning the whole thing, man, going boing. But, it is such a fun little rifle to shoot. Holy cow.
It's so fun, yeah.
That is great.
A friend of mine told me when we were shooting, he goes, just make this your 50-yard gun. He goes, don't stop shooting at 100 yards. Just make it a 50-yard gun.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's a 50-yard inside and just have a ball, shoot all the ammo. And frankly, it would be a terrific house gun with that setup. I think with good hollow point ammo, I would use that as a house gun. Look, I got to keep running here, James. Thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for getting involved. He's right, man. You notice he said, well, he's thanking me. Well, no, I just sent the word out. All I did was messenger. Everybody else contacted their senators and their state representatives in our state legislature, and we got things done. We got to go back and do it again this week. It's like it's never ending. And you got to get plugged in. You got to be on the Facebook page of your state group or whatever the mechanism is for getting information. But all over the country, I'm hearing from people now who are saying, Tom, I took your advice. I got involved in our state group. These guys are on the ball. These women are really making it happen. And if we get men and women who show up at the State House, we do make things happen. If we send emails, if we call, and we do all of it. You got to call, you got to email, you got to find them when they're in town doing their appearances, and then you got to show up. because the world belongs to those who show up. And you know what? It's our time. Emails from folks who tried out the Blink system. They said, man, this thing really works. It's really simple. The Blink cameras are wireless cameras. You set up, it takes about, 5 minutes to set them up, a piece of cake. The whole idea is you're somewhere else. You're at work. You're on a trip. You're across town, and your smartphone alerts you, hey, there's something moving out there. There's something going on. Could be a bad guy. Could be somebody breaking into your house. You call 911. You get the cops there right away. That's the way it's supposed to work. Might be as simple as, hey, somebody's dropped off a package for you. Oh, cool. That new optic came in. Now I know it's here. That's not a bad thing, too. But if it's a bad guy and you're able to call and get the police there right away, that's what it's really all about. Now, it's a home security system. It's simple. It's easy. Little bitty cameras. I've been using it for, I guess, pretty close to a year now. It works great for me. They've got a live feed option to let you monitor your home from anywhere. It'll run, seems like forever, on batteries. There's not much there. So here's the deal. Because I try to get you guys the best deals. Right now, you still get the 3 Blink cameras for what the other guys charge for 1, and I got you an extra 15% off. Just go. We don't even have to put a code in anymore. Just go to blinkprotect.com/guntalk, right? blinkprotect.com/guntalk, and that will get you the extra 15%. On line 2, Jay is traveling in Montana. Hey, Jay, you're on Gun Talk. What's going on as you travel?
I'm in a truck, and I had left the East Coast to go to the house in Montana, and I'm traveling through Wisconsin, and I was on State Highway 29, and the very upsetting billboard that I passed, which was 31 miles east of Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And it, in huge letters, a huge, brand-new billboard said the NRA is a terrorist organization. I did not get the website or the make of the billboard itself, but I'm a life member, and I took it very personally.
Well, I want to jump on that and see if we can run down, get somebody to drive over there and get a picture of it. Run it by me one more time. What highway that's on?
It was State Highway 29. It comes from the Upper Peninsula. Actually, it's on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, coming down into Wisconsin, and it was 31 miles east of Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. And it was on the westbound lane. In other words, the right lane as you're coming west.
Gotcha. Okay. We're going to see if we can get somebody to run over and take a picture of it for us. This is part of this whole culture war deal, man. This is what it's about. They want to call you a terrorist because you believe in gun rights. Even though none of the mass murderers have been NRA members.
It drove me crazy. And I called the NRA legislative office, and I saw this on Friday, but I didn't get the office until after 5 o'clock, and they'd gone home for the weekend.
Sure. Well, we'll see if we can run it down. I appreciate it. That's a really good report, and we'll see if we do that. Jay, thank you for being a life member. Thank you for letting us know about it. This is part of a larger war, friends and neighbors. We now have death threats against NRA officials, death threats against elected officials, against staff. We have Republicans. One Republican congressman said he thinks that some of the people who are not going to run for re-election are afraid of being assassinated. People say, well, that's crazy. Really? Really? You want to ask Steve Scalise about that? I don't see the violent right, but I sure do see the violent left murdering people, trying to kill people, trying to go out and say, and ask, are those Republicans at that baseball practice? Yes. And then going out and trying to kill all of them. There's something very dark, very strange going on. And I will not recoil from it. I will not hide from it. I'm here. And I'm going to stand up. I'm not a terrorist. NRA is not a terrorist. We're the good guys and gals. And we don't hide from it. And I'm going to put stickers on my car. I've never been a guy that puts stickers on his car. I'm going to do that now. Simple as that. The question is, what are you prepared to do? What is your reaction to all of this?